York City Council meeting. At this time, we will have public comment, and we remind everyone that public comment is 5 minutes. Up first, we have Todd Eric Moritz.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
So I'm the resident and owner of 27 North Franklin Street. There are two garages that are right beside me and across the street, and they continuously park their cars up and down our street. Their customers will come, park their cars, hand them the keys, and the cars will sit there for days before they take care of them. I'm at my wit's end. I really don't know what else to do at this point, so I'm coming to you to try to find out what to do. I've been in contact with Nancy Griffin and Monty McMillan. Come out, they look around, they leave. There's cars that are parked in a little parking area across from my house that have been sitting there for 10 years. They're not moved. They sit there. They're junk. It's not a junkyard. If they're working on cars, I understand that. Monty knows how long those cars have been sitting there, and again, nothing gets done to it. They get warned. Joe Guerreri was the owner of those garages. He recently sold it to whoever owns Geo's on Philadelphia Street as well. So whoever owns Geo's on Philadelphia Street now owns the two garages on Franklin Street. I have pictures if you would like to see some pictures. They have flatbeds. They're parking on the sidewalks. They're working on cars. There's oil on my streets now with they're putting sawdust or whatever, cat litter down, whatever, to try to soak it up. It's very bad now. I have lived in the neighborhood all of my life. My aunts lived on that street when I was a kid. I bought the house beside my mother before she died last year to be with her, to try to help her out as much as possible. I don't want to leave my neighborhood, but that's what it's coming down to. I just don't know what else to do. And I'm pulling my hair out at this point. So if there's any advice, or I know that they shouldn't be doing the things they're doing, but it doesn't seem like anybody is enforcing anything. Again, if you would like some pictures, I have pictures if you would like to see any. You would like them?
Can we keep them, or are they just, because I'll go ahead and send them to
You can have them,
some
yes.
people.
So then, so I can explain a little bit, like, this is the little parking area they have here, that there's just cars that's been sitting there for 10 years.
Okay.
They don't never move them. If they had that area, they could park their customer cars and their vehicles in there for their employees. But they don't. Like, you can see there's flatbeds just sitting on the street. These cars here that you see circled have been there for a week and a half now, 2 weeks going on. But then there's flatbeds right outside of my, they're taking up the whole sidewalk,
And this is the first block of, the 100 block of?
No, it's the very first block.
27, okay.
I live at 27, I own the house.
Okay.
And then the properties that I'm complaining about are 25 and 26.
Okay, all right,
Yes,
thank you.
you may have all
Thank you very
those.
much. Thank you for sharing that with us today. We'll be sure to share this information with the administration.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you. Sorry you're experiencing that. Up next, we have Ms. Monica Kruger from our Bureau of Health.
Good evening, Council and Administration. Pleasure to be here this evening. I'm here because I couldn't be here at the last council meeting, but wanted to, in case you didn't see the press release that went out last week regarding last week being National Public Health Week, just wanted to shout that out and to give some huge kudos to really grateful to the staff that we have in the Public Health Department. In addition to that, we are approaching or are in the process of celebrating for more than 40 years service to the community. So that's certainly a huge milestone, we think. So why am I also here tonight? I'm also here tonight because I'm sure that you all have been very aware of all of the things that are happening in the media regarding federal employees losing jobs and funding cuts. So some of those funding cuts kind of hit close to home here with us. So specifically, some supplemental grants were awarded in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So those funds were not just for the COVID-19 pandemic, but for building infrastructure and creating a lot of the necessary services and necessary technology that we need to continue to keep our communities safe and for all public health response activities. So what has happened is some of those funds are directly related to the funding of some of the things that we do in the New York City Bureau of Health. So flash forward, there was a termination of funds issued from the federal government. And then subsequently, some of you may be aware of, on April 1st, our Governor Shapiro joined 22 other states in fighting the cutting of the termination of those funds. April 3rd, a judge granted a restraining order so that the government could not at that moment in time cease that funding. Tomorrow, there is a hearing regarding all of this. So we don't know how this is going to go. We remain hopeful that, I can't say common sense will prevail, but we remain hopeful that these funds, at least the funds that have already been promised and allocated, not yet allocated, but promised, will continue. I can tell you internally, we are doing everything we can to anticipate if those funds don't come forward or are cut off, what will we do? So I feel as the person who's in charge of the local public health department that I at least bring this to your attention so that you're aware of it. Again, we're working very diligently with the State Department of Health and looking at every possible outcome and how that may or may not impact us and what that will mean or not mean to the, basically it trickles down to the citizens and the community of York City. So thank you for your time. I will keep you posted and hopefully I'll have some great news around the corner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Is there any other public comment this evening regarding non-agenda items?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Benjamin Praster. I'm the president of the Fraternal Order Police Lodge 15 that represents the police officers that work here in the city of York. And I'm here today because we're asking that City Council take some kind of action to audit or review the behavior of the Business Administration and the Human Resources Departments of the City of York. To give you a little background, in October of last year, we got an award that came out of the binding arbitration for the contract negotiations for 23, 24, and 25. As you're all aware, that was a long, lengthy process that left us out of contract. I mean, we signed it, I guess, a couple weeks ago. So for about 2 years and 3 months, the police officers in New York have been working out of contract. During that time, we've gone from having one of our worst murder rates in this city's history to some of our lowest. So we'll skip over some of the issues and problems we had with the negotiations just to talk about what's happened with the award since then. So we got the award in October last year, and we spoke with the city. After we waited a month for the appeals deadline to pass. And we said, okay, so we need to start working on the calculations for back pay. And at that time, we were told that the calculations for back pay wouldn't be done until March 31st of this year. That's 5-6 months approximately we were being told it was going to take to calculate the back pay and get checks out to people. The membership was pretty upset. This struck most people as a ridiculous time frame to get that kind of thing done. We spoke with some people that do HR and accounting for other places, and they said that, yes, that's unheard of. So, the person I spoke with said, for a back pay of 100 people, she said, if I told my bosses it was going to take me 6 months, I wouldn't have a job. She said, maybe I'd give myself a month at the, outset, just in case something went wrong. So at the time, myself and other members on the e-board counseled everybody in our membership to just stay the course. We weren't going to file any action, do anything like that. We were going to let the city work this stuff out. So we fast forward to, I guess that would have been March 12th. I was at a staff meeting, and I advised the commissioner and the captains at the time. I said, hey, we are now one paycheck away from the city missing its deadline for March 31st, which guys were already upset about being the deadline to begin with. I said, if they miss that deadline, you're going to have a lot of unhappy people here in this department. It's going to be a real morale problem, and we already have this huge retention problem. You can't let the city miss this deadline. So then we received an email from the commissioner saying he'd spoken with the city administration and that, yeah, on the next paycheck would be the back pay. So we fast forward again to the 19th, about a week or two later. I started getting calls about midnight because we get electronic deposits. People were seeing their back pays, and we were getting a bunch of calls, and people were advising me that the back pays were not calculated correctly. We had an officer who got $67 or $200-ish dollars, right, for a 2-year back pay. We had officers who got $18,000, which was about, I want to say, $6,000 to $10,000 more than they thought they were supposed to be getting. We had all kinds of stories like that started pouring in. So officers started reaching out to HR directly, and HR began issuing checks to people to fix stuff. So clearly there was a problem, because day 2 they were issuing checks back to people to start and correct what was going on. So I called our current head of human resources. I said, hey, this is a problem, right? We have this whole thing and it's all messed up. She said, okay, well, like, let us know, whose stuff is messed up. I said, first of all, we don't know, right? Because we have people, we're all doing it on the napkin math here, and people are just saying their stuff is off, and then you're reissuing stuff. So there's clearly some kind of problem. Let's sit down and figure it out. They said, this was on a Friday. They said Kim Robertson was on vacation. I said, hey, I hear you. We'll do a Zoom meeting or something, but this is a pretty big problem. They said, Kim Robertson's unavailable. I said, okay, well, you're the head of HR. We've got Amy Schul who does this stuff. Let's get in a meet room and try and figure this out. And they said, we can't do that. We don't have the calculations. I said, you're telling me no one else in that office has these calculations and knows what it's doing. And I was told, and I stand by, I don't believe it, that Kim Robertson did every one of these calculations personally, and it would be impossible for anybody except for her to have this conversation with us. Called the mayor a couple times. He didn't answer the phone, wouldn't talk to us. So we started taking some other steps. We called in our contract. We have the ability to call a labor management meeting. We put that together. On the agenda, we put retroactive pay. Show up to that Thursday last week, and Kim Robertson's not at the meeting. I said, we had other things on the agenda. I said, but, the retro pay is kind of the big thing going on here. And they said, yeah, well, but we can't really talk about that because she's not here. So obviously, again, we were pretty upset because we were told that Kim Robertson's the only one that can do this. We put it on the agenda, and Kim Robertson didn't come to that meeting. Expressed my displeasure to McLean. She said, hey, send an email back to Kim Robertson. We'll get a meeting done, to just sit down and talk about retroactive pay. So I sent Kim Robertson another email on, I believe, Friday, might have been Monday morning, and I received a response from her today. She said, hey, it's the Easter holiday season, so I'm pretty booked up. I won't be able to meet you until the 22nd or the 23rd, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. That is a full month from the time when the retroactive checks were sent out. To this date, we have been sent a spreadsheet that contains everybody's information in kind of a big aggregate way, but we've had nobody's personal calculations. When people have asked for their personal calculations so that they can start looking for the errors and trying to figure out what's going on, we were told by Kim Robertson that those were going to take an extraordinary amount of time and they can't be provided. I'm not sure exactly how that's possible, right? She's done a set of calculations, she arrived at an answer, so somewhere theoretically there's a spreadsheet with how she did that. I don't understand how that takes any extra time to prepare or do to send the guy and say, this is what we have and this is what we calculated. Then they apparently, because they've been issuing checks to people in this interim, so for example, I wrote them and said, hey, I think my thing is off. And they sent me an email that said, here's a check for $357, come pick it up. No explanation of how that number was arrived at, no explanation of what the error was, just, hey, here's a check, come pick this up. And I've expressed to them that the problem is, if I come pick up this $357 check, for all I know, we're still wrong, right? We can't get this information. We've hired an outside consultant. We're starting to work through it. But the city refuses to give us this information, and the city refuses to meet with us and discuss it. And it is my belief that the reason is because they've committed a bunch of errors. They've messed this whole process up. And rather than take some kind of responsibility for it and start fixing it, they're trying to avoid getting into anything where it's going to be revealed how it is that they messed this up and caused this problem. Obviously, we don't have the ability to hold Kim Robertson or the city administration accountable for that, but city council does, and I would ask you all to do so.
Thank you for bringing this information to our attention.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else this evening for public comment regarding non-agenda items? Okay. At this time, it is 6:15 p.m. and we will call our legislative meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Bub,
Here.
John Askew,
Here.
Dennis,
Here.
Buckingham,
Here.
Washington.
Here. And everyone that can stand, if we can now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, we'll take action on previous meeting minutes. I make a motion to approve our April 1st, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That moves forward. Up next, we have presentations, awards, and announcements this evening. We have Tawana Dean here with us, Senior Manager and Customer Compliance of the Pennsylvania American Water Company, for a brief presentation on their discount program for our City of York residents. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you to talk about our assistance programs offered by Pennsylvania American Water for wastewater customers here in New York. I'll start by talking about, basically, there's 4 programs that we offer. A bill discount program, so customers who are at or below 200% of the federal poverty level could qualify. Income verification is required from those customers. We partner with Dollar Energy Fund. Dollar Energy Fund collects information, takes applications, and works with the company to get those discounts on customer bills. Once a customer is found eligible for the bill discount, we send a postcard to those customers because we offer conservation kits. In those conservation kits, the customer can choose between a handheld or stationary shower head, low flow aerators for the sink, fill diverter for the toilets, and some dye tablets, because a lot of time higher bills are caused by a leaking toilet. So those dye tablets are good to have. By reducing the water bill, you also reduce your wastewater bill. Another program that we have, and I should back up and say for the bill discount program, you don't have to be behind on your bill, just income eligible. So as soon as customers start service or learn about the program, we want them to sign up for the bill discount to make those bills more affordable. Now, if a customer is behind on their bill, the bill discount program can help them, but we also have a payment arrangement. It's called the arrearage forgiveness, okay? So what happens is they pay that reduced bill each month plus $5, and they will receive a $25 forgiveness on their bill. What I have here with me is an example of a bill of a customer who falls in Tier 3. We have 4 tiers that a customer can fall into to get the discount. This customer is receiving a 55% discount off their total wastewater bill. They're on the arrearage management plan because they are behind on their bill, so they're paying that reduced bill plus $5, and it does show a $5 forgiveness credit. We want customers to sign up for these programs. It helps them. It helps everybody. We never want to terminate a customer service because nobody wins for non-pay situation. We also provide grants up to $500, so a customer who's behind on their bill can get a grant of up to $500. What's interesting about the grant is that grant goes up to 250% of the federal poverty level. So if someone comes in and they're above 200% and can't get the bill discount or their arrearage management, they're able to get a grant. We work with Dollar Energy Fund. We would ask customers to contact Dollar Energy at 1-888-282-6816, or they can call Dollar Energy. They can go to the website, Dollar Energy's website. We also have community-based organizations here in York that they can make an appointment. The Salvation Army, the Caring Company, and Community Progress Council are all locations right here in the city that they can make an appointment to sign up for the programs. I'm trying to think if I got anything. Sometimes I talk too fast. But again, we ask customers to call us if they're ever in need and find themselves in a situation. Dollar Energy Fund, the community-based organizations. That's our programs, and we want customers to take advantage of those programs. That's why I'm here. Any questions? I don't know if you can ask me questions.
Thank you so
or not.
much, Mrs. Dean. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, in regards to our meeting schedule, our next council committee meeting will be scheduled for Wednesday, April the 23rd, 6 p.m. here in council chambers. All agenda items are due by 12 noon on April the 16th. Our next legislative meeting of council will be held on Tuesday, May 6th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers. And all agenda items are due by 12 noon on April the 30th. In regards to our comprehensive plan 2044, it is still undergoing final edits at this time, therefore will not be considered for final passage this evening. Moving along to our final passage of bills and resolutions. Up next, we have final passage of bill number 5. Move to approve.
Second.
Bill number 5, which was introduced by Queen of Washington at the April 1st meeting of council, a bill amending the 2025 budget by appropriating revenue and expenditures for CDBG home grant funding, reflecting changes due to rollover amounts from fiscal year 2024 budget.
Are there any comments from council at this time regarding this matter?
None.
Was there a second? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry about that. It's okay. Is there any comments from the community at this time? Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Okay. Bub,
Yes.
Johnny Skew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next, we have final passage of bill number 6.
Move to approve. Second.
Second.
Bill number 6, which was introduced by Betsy Buckingham at the April 1st meeting of council. A bill amending the 2025 budget for the treasurer's office in the amount of $10,000 for other professional services.
Is there any any council comment this evening?
None.
Any public comment this evening? Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Bub,
Yes.
Johnny Skew,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next, we have final passage of bill number 7. Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded.
That's bill number 7, which was introduced by Queen of Washington at the April 1st meeting of council, amending the 2025 budget by appropriating revenue and expenditure for the funding received from the York County, from the County of York as pass-through for an award from Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for a sub-grant of federal coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds in the amount of $33,438.89 to fund purchase of laptops and school supplies for students attending HAC through the GVI initiative.
Is there any council comment regarding this matter? Any
None.
public comment? Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Bub,
Yes.
Johnny Skew,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next, we have final passage of bill number 8.
I make a motion to amend Bill number 8 as follows. Number 1, relocate sections 181D and E to section 181.06. Number 2, add the word vacant to section 181.07A and remove section 181.09 in its entirety. 18109 was recognition of outgoing appointees. The city clerk or chief of staff, as the case may be, shall send a thank you letter recognizing outgoing appointees who have successfully completed their term of office. If the appointee is reappointed to consecutive terms, the thank you letter need not be sent until completion of all terms. I will concede to administration that, yes, this did seem that we were legislating professionalism and courtesy. I think we've been trying to stress with this bill the importance of being increasingly engaged with our boards, commissions, and authorities. I would hope that this is already being done as a matter of practice. If not, it should be moving forward as just, policy within the office.
Thank you, Councilwoman Janescu.
Okay, is there a second to the amendments?
Second.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
And that moves forward.
That was just the amendment.
Okay, just a minute.
So now, if there's any questions on the bill as amended from council.
Is there any questions this evening on the bill that has been amended by council?
None.
Any questions from the public? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, Bub,
Yes.
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next, we have final passage of bill number 9.
So introduced?
Motion to
Move to approve. Oh, move to approve.
Second.
And that was bill number 9, which was introduced by Elizabeth Bubb at the April 1st meeting of council. It's a bill amending Article 513, vehicle operation and parking, to include parking restrictions during special events at the York Fairgrounds.
Is there any council comment regarding this evening?
None.
Any public comment? Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Bubb,
Yes.
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Up next for our new business, we have introduction of bill number 10.
This is where it's so introduced. I was going ahead.
That's bill number 10, introduced by Elizabeth Bubb, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of York, Pennsylvania. This is just a bill approving inclusion of last year's ordinances into my book.
And that is a bill, and it will sit. Up next, we have resolution number 28.
So introduced?
Resolution number 28, introduced by Elizabeth Bubb, is be it resolved that council hereby consents to the appointment of Melissa Rosario as a member of the York City Redevelopment Authority to fill the unexpired term of Aaron Anderson, which term shall expire April 28th, 2028.
Second. Want to move for a vote first and then,
Yep. And
okay,
then
move for a vote?
Betsy second.
Second.
Is there any council comment this evening regarding this?
None.
I have a comment. Actually have gotten to know Melissa a little bit. I was delighted about this. She and her husband own a business in the city, which is great, which qualifies her to be part of the RDA. Not only that, but for about the past year or so, she's been a member of the RDA's project committee, so she's gotten to know a little bit about the RDA quite a bit and contribute to that, which really heightens her qualifications for this appointment.
Thank you. Any other council comment?
Is she here?
She is
I'd like to swear you in. Okay.
Is there any public comment regarding this evening?
Good evening. Blandon Ace, Executive Director of the Redevelopment Authority. As Bessie eloquently stated, Melissa's been serving on the RDA has a project committee where it's more than just the board members, but it's also members of the community that we invite for different insight and serves as our feeder, much like the introduced legislation that will make sure that we get qualified board members who are instantly up to speed. And Melissa's been a great asset to that, and we're thrilled to have her on board. I also want to say thank you to council and your predecessors, because yesterday was the 75th birthday of the Redevelopment Authority. It was passed and introduced by council on April 14th, 1950. So you are our birthday present. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Blanda. Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Okay. Bub,
Yes.
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Yes, you do.
All right.
Congratulations.
Stand at the mic. I'm going to give you the, administer you the oath of office. What do you think about that word? I'm going to administer.
That sounds so serious, and I'm ready.
That's some serious business. All right,
love
I
that.
just need you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
Melissa Rosario,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the United States. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. I was like, am I joining the Army? What's going on here?
Come up here real quick and sign for me. I'll fill in the other information. You just sign your name right there.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you for your service. As I always share, there's always opportunities such as these for our residents to serve on our authorities, boards, and commissions in the city of York. Great way to get involved, great way to serve our community, great way to share your advice and your wisdom and your knowledge to help us to be a better city of York. So thank you very well. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and we appreciate all those that do serve on our authorities, boards, and commissions here in the city of York. We couldn't do the work that we do without each of you. Up next, we have introduction of resolution number 29. So introduce.
Is there a motion? That's short. Okay.
21?
Resolution number 29. Okay, introduced by Queen of Washington. Whereas the city desires to revise the 2020-2024 annual action plan to reflect the changes resulting in actual funding amounts for CDBG and home, and whereas the 30-day period for citizen review and comment occurred in accordance with the city's citizen participation plan, now therefore be it resolved that the City of York's 2020-2024 annual action plan is hereby revised in accordance with the schedules that are attached hereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any council comment regarding this matter this evening?
None.
I just want to thank Tammy Harvey Bethea. I'm not sure if I'm saying all of it correctly, but I do want to thank you for your responsiveness to my questions about the numbers on the 2024 HUD Action Plan funding report, and all of your responsiveness. You've been wonderful to work for. We are all on the same team. I appreciate that, and thank you.
Is there any other council comment?
Thanks.
Any public comment? Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. At this time, we do not have requests for any future meetings. Is there any council comment this evening? Any administration comment this evening? Okay. Well, 6:34 p.m. and our meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a wonderful evening.